Hey, loves, I know it doesn't seem like it, but you don't actually have to do anything in order to manifest your specific person, but act and feel from the state of the wish fulfilled. Because the actions or what you need to do are going to automatically come from that state. And I know, even in this video, we're probably thinking or asking, okay, but how am I going to do this? How am I going to manifest my specific person? How are they going to text me? How is this? How is that going to happen? But we know that in manifestation, we never have to worry about how, right? The more we worry about how, the more we're kind of confessing that we're not in the state of it, because you can't think of how you're going to do something if you feel as if you already have it. And the reason we actually avoid this state, because we know, again, the action of what you need to do is going to automatically come from the state of already having it. But the reason that our mind and our body fear getting into this state is because our logical mind is stopping us. Our logical mind wants to take immediate and prompt action. Our logical mind is connected to our current state and our current ego, meaning our logical mind wants to overcome all of the problems, all of the circumstances, all of the things that you feel are in the way of you and your manifestation right now. But what if I told you none of that actually matters? And the more we actually try to perform more action or do more effort to be with our specific person while in a state that doesn't align with it, the more we actually just reiterate the same concepts and ideas. And it's kind of like the law of reversed effort, meaning the harder you try to do something, the harder it actually becomes to do. Because when you're in a state, that is exactly what is being manifested. So struggling to be with your specific person is not going to push us closer to the positive outcome. It's just going to reiterate the same exact state. And I know at the surface, your mind is going to have a hard time dealing with this because it perceives a lot of problems. But we know to overcome those problems, we actually have to not avoid or ignore them, but eliminate them by focusing on this state. So if you can, for a moment, think about all of the things that you feel you need to do and let them go and just focus on only thinking from the state in this moment, or even throughout the day today, you are going to notice and have so much greater results because the actions of how to overcome any problems, any situations, any circumstances is going to automatically come to you in the state of the wish fulfilled. And it doesn't even have to be a state that is absolutely magnificent either. If in this moment you just feel happy, abundant, loved, desired, pursued, confident, any emotion or feeling that is in relation to what you would feel if you already had your specific person, you are going to be eons further in your manifestation. Because in the state, we'll naturally and automatically begin doing those actions that we need to do. We'll feel more passionate. We'll feel more motivated. Everything will feel absolutely miraculous and amazing. That's why when I talk about manifestation and I talk about it being literally easy and effortless, the easiest thing you could ever do, it's because not only are you going to get exactly what you want and there's no limit to this outcome, the only thing you're actually meant to do is just feel as if you already have it in the moment, which is going to be very positive, abundant, loving, and desirable emotions, right? How would you feel if you were already with your specific person in this current moment? I would imagine that you would have a lot of positive and amazing feelings and emotions. And again, it's because our mind thinks we have to take action right here and right now, or else we're going to miss the train or our circumstances are going to get larger. But no, overcome this thinking and act from the state first and foremost, because I kind of have a question that's going to basically make all of this make sense right here and right now. And the question is, when do you feel the most motivated and the most passionate? When you're feeling good or when you're feeling bad? And obviously we're going to say, well, when we feel good, we feel the most motivated and passionate. When we feel good, it seems like everything always works out in our favor. When we feel good, we feel happy, we feel abundant. We basically align with all of those end state emotions. And if we can just take, for example, just this concept that you can only know what to do or what action to take or how to get to your specific person if we're in the state, we're going to take that focus first and foremost and manifest a million times greater. Because another added depth to this is anytime we're actually worrying about how or feeling like we have to take action in this moment, it's because we're actually focused on completely on our external reality. We're focused on what's happening. We're basically becoming reactive to our environment. But in reality, if you become reactive to the thing that you're creating, you've created a perpetual cycle where it never ends because you've created the current reality. You created the circumstances, the ideas that's happening outside of you. And so that's okay. If it's not something you want, you can easily just alter it and switch it. But we can't become reactive to our external reality. We can't see something we dislike and attempt to try to solve it without understanding that we are inherently the reason that it existed in the first place, even at a metaphysical level. Then once we know this, we won't become reactive and we'll focus on ourself and our internal state. Because the more reactive we are, again, just to reiterate, we are going to repeat the same cycle over and over and over again. But our mind, our logical mind likes this, right? It wants to try to solve problems. But what if I were to tell you there are no problems? There are no circumstances between you and your specific person. It is entirely a figment of our imagination. Literally, in this moment, every single circumstance you feel is in the way of you and your manifestation is a figment of your imagination. I know that seems strange at first, and I know our mind wants to solve them, but they are truly and entirely made up. And if we focus on the state, we're going to see things so much more differently. It's kind of also like a really good example of this would be, imagine you and your friend or specific person were going to hang out, but they end up not showing up. Your mind, if in a negative state, is going to begin assuming all the negative, right? We're going to think badly about what had occurred. We're going to think, why did they stood me up? They just must not care about me. They must not want to be with me. They must hate my guts, right? And our emotions and ideas can all align with that outcome. And what do you think your actions or divine guidance is going to be from that state? It's going to be divine guidance that we don't necessarily want to be in. But then what if you found out that your specific person had someone close to them, had to go to the hospital, or they got into a car accident, right? How are you thus now imagining that situation? Do you still think all of those negative emotions? And we would say, well, no. Our mind and our state would switch to one that is more empathetic, more kind, more gentle, more nurturing, which again would lead to a different outcome in our actions, thoughts, and beliefs. But what if I were to tell you, even at the basic, most simplistic idea of this, you are picking and choosing that right now. You are picking and choosing based on your state what you feel your reality is. And thus you can always choose the positive, the loving, the kind side, because anytime you have ever in your reality in your past encountered any circumstance, I bet you it was not a circumstance or a problem in the way that you expected it to be, and it actually turned out to work in your favor massively. But just to give you an example of it does not take action, and your state is so much more important than action, even though action will come from divine guidance. I want to give you a success that came from one of my recent coaching sessions. So what they wrote was, I've been doing the things you said in the previous email, and I've been going on a more strict mental diet, and it's working. Yesterday, I received communication from him after about a month of not talking. I did a visualization before sleeping of us eating at our favorite restaurant together, and I fell asleep. About 3 hours later, he sends me an Instagram video of that same restaurant and said, "This reminds me of you." I was shocked that it happened so quick, and then they go on to even more successes that they were manifesting. But think about that. So think about the moment of realization this person had that it was not their actions, it wasn't physically what they needed to do in this moment to make their specific person like or care about them. It was all within their imagination and the state that they were coming from. Just think of how coincidental that must seem to imagine or visualize eating at a restaurant with your specific person and then immediately the next day have them send you a video of Instagram post of that restaurant saying it reminds you or reminds them of you. That is just a perfect example of manifestation and how the state is the most important factor. And when you act and realize or just do things from the state and focus only on the state first, and then see kind of where it takes you, because obviously after this, a divine guidance bridge of events is going to happen perfectly. But when you focus on the state, strange, wild, crazy things that you may not even believe to be real or possible are going to be occurring for you with your specific person. But it starts and ends with that state. There's nothing to do. This person didn't have to force their specific person, to text them, to think of them, to do anything. Nothing in our external reality is being forced. It's all about the way that we are thinking, imagining, and feeling internally. And that's having and creating the effect outside of us. And so this is something that you can do in this moment, because the state is something you are constantly in control of and creating at each moment. You are picking and choosing what state, what imagination you want to be in right here and right now. So in the same way of this email coaching session, you can pick and choose what reality you want just by changing your state. And again, if it feels too good to be true or crazy, imagine what this person thinks before joining my email coaching session. Probably thought it had to be difficult. They mentioned circumstances in between them and their specific person, but they were still able to manifest this just by changing and altering their state. Again, I want to say it's not action. That action is not the only thing going to take you to where you want to go. Your state matters entirely. You can't, if you have action without the state, you're going to be acting and cycling through the same things over and over again. So we need to begin and act from the state first, because this person could have responded and been like, no, visualization, mental diet, that's going to have no effect. I need to actively and physically act in my reality to create it. But that's not law of assumption. That's not how everything manifests outside of you. I know it may seem that way, but if you go back to anything that you've created or done that you really enjoyed and loved, it all came from the state first. So that's what we need to do right here and right now to manifest exactly what we want. And if you know for a fact you're going to go into your imagination right now, focus on your state, and you are going to manifest effortlessly amazing progress with your specific person, leave a thumbs up on this video. If you did have any questions, make sure to comment them down below. And remember, if you want to send me a personal question, or if you wanted me to walk you through this instantaneous success through coaching, make sure to reach out to me at kyleaugustcoaching.com. It's also in the link in the description. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I'm so excited to hear your success stories after applying this, and I can't wait to see you in my next video.